autumn sunshine, jets flying overhead, horses here in South Ozone Park. It can mean only one thing. The inaugural edition of Aqueduct Insider. I'm Richard Migliori, joined by Maggie Wolfendale. November 4th, and we're at the Big A, Maggie.
That we are. It sure didn't feel like we were at the Big A, Richie. We had absolutely gorgeous weather here today, hitting around the mid-70s. You didn't need a jacket, and I wish I had taken a picture of myself just to remind myself of the glorious opening day of Aqueduct, because I know sooner or later it's going to be freezing.
Well, we're going to enjoy every moment we can of days like this, because you know the colder weather's right around the corner. But it was a terrific opening day card, but a lot of things to talk about, Maggie. Particularly about Breeders' Cup, and how about American Pharoah and his 120 buyer figure?
Yeah, exactly, and a lot of people tuning in as well. This was the highest ratings as far as 20 years ago when Cigar went for his 16th consecutive win in the Breeders' Cup Classic. But everybody tuning in, you know, millions of Americans to American Pharoah, the beloved Triple Crown winner of this year. And I mean, he put on a show. You were down there. What was the vibe like? Yeah,
it was, he put on a procession, no doubt, but the vibe was incredible. And there were so many people there that weren't coming to their first Breeders' Cup. They were coming to their first race ever because of American Pharoah. And when he came into the paddock, he got a standing ovation. When Victor Espinoza got put up on his back, another ovation. It just never stopped. It just seemed like a celebration of his career and our game. And as far as I'm concerned, he's one of the greatest horses I've ever seen. And I know the classic set up for him. But how do you feel about his legacy?
I think he's just an amazing animal in that we saw the next day Bob Baffert bringing him out for about 200 members of media, Richie, and the capability of this horse just to be so docile and so calm, yet be a true competitor and just a brilliant racehorse. It's a very interesting juxtaposition that you don't get to see often, and he's a once-in-a-lifetime horse.
Once-in-a-lifetime horse that can turn that energy on when he's competing and turn it off when he's around people. How about Toneless? Little news out of the Breeders' Cup. Toneless is going to point towards our Cigar Mile. And he was pretty good in the Westchester. He was also pretty good in the Met Mile when he was second to Honor Code.
Yeah, exactly. He's proven that he can handle this distance, and a bit of a dispute of whether he was going to go to stud or if he was going to keep racing. We'll see what kind of deal emerges as far as a second career goes for him. But Christophe Clement citing that he's in light training and that we're going to aim for November 28th here at the Big A with the Cigar Mile, and he'll likely also send out Red Vine as well.
The runner-up in the Breeders' Cup Mile to a very good Liam's map. Well, we're going to just change directions a little bit here from racing to sales. And Keeneland had the Breeders' Cup. Well, the next day the sales started, and talk about fireworks, Maggie. Katsumi Yoshida of Northern Farm really buying up a lot of horses. But first, Take Charge Brandy, the 2-year-old champion from last year, $6 million.
I was surprised, but she has that very nice pedigree, that solid mare in Take Charge Lady that she's just sought after. Her progeny is sought after because she's been such a producer. And obviously, Take Charge Brandy, a multiple greatest stakes winner, that also helps to boot.
Yeah, and a champion. And John Sikora of Hillendale Farm opened up the bidding with $2 million, ultimately getting her for $6 million. He wasn't playing around. He was a man on a mission. He
was determined, and also, as you mentioned, Katsumi Yoshida, he was also determined in picking up some American live breeding stock.
Yeah, Sweet Reason going for $2.7 million, Condo Commando for $1.5, and Stephanie's Kitten, that brilliant mare for Ken Ramsey, sold privately after the sale. She didn't reach the reserve. $2.8 million. How about the run and the trip she worked out in the Breeders' Cup?
It was brilliant. I was so thrilled for her. She truly is ageless here, Richie. She's a 6-year-old mare now. I mean, going back several years ago, we saw her winning the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf, and here she is just dazzling against some nice European horses as well, and got a pretty generous price on her, too. I think she was, what, about 6-to-1 range at the end, and she proved to be the best in the States as well as the world that day.
I think she was a little cold on the board because of the fact that she had run twice at Keeneland, not so well. Well, she proved that Keeneland was just fine on Saturday for her. Well, let's talk about our racing today. We got the Tempted Stakes, 2 graded stakes, the Tempted and the Nashua, but the first one up, race 3, the Tempted, with John Imbrial up in the booth.
And they're off. Big World and Banry go out first with High Holiday right behind. As they race up the chute, it is Banry in front. Big World runs in second. Disco Rose is third. Welcoming is fourth, about 3.5 from the front. On her outside is High Holiday. Floridora trails the field in sixth. Down on the inside, it's Big World to take over the lead now. Big World in front by a neck. Banry is right there in second. It's a length to Disco Rose in third through an opening quarter mile in 24 seconds. Welcoming is fourth. At the rail is Floridora and High Holiday. A Big World with the narrow lead over Banry. It's Big World by a head. Banry on the outside in second, the half in 47-4. Disco Rose, Welcoming is moving up in between horses. High Holiday on the outside, and Floridora is sixth. Big World and Banry, and they continue to race 1-2 as they come for the top of the stretch. High Holiday is on the outside, and Disco Rose is gaining some ground as Welcoming has dropped back to last. The field is in the stretch. It's Banry and Big World, Disco Rose, followed towards the inside by Floridora, then High Holiday and Welcoming. Big World and Banry, they continue to battle it out right from the start, right to the finish. Big World's in front. Late move from Floridora. Big World wins the Tempted. Floridora was second, and Banry finished third.
Maggie, Big World was very resolute down along the inside. Looked like she might be collared at one point, but she kept finding, I thought, a very game performance.
Yeah, she really stepped up her game off of that maiden score back at Saratoga on closing weekend. And she always gave me the feeling, Richie, that she'd be a filly that would progress nicely the more distance that she got to run at.
Yeah, and Floridora actually ran on well to be second coming on at the end. Maybe a rematch in the Demoiselle will be up next.
Yeah, well, I did catch up with Tony Dutrow, though, as well.
I'm sure that's one of the questions you asked him.
Actually, I didn't, but he doesn't know. So, but we'll get to the interview.
Okay, well, let's check out you and Anthony Dutrow.
It was quite a big world for the namesake in today's Tempted. Tony Dutrow, conditioner of Big World. Tony, I heard Jose come back and say, well, nobody wanted the lead, so I took it. Was that your plan? She hadn't run like that before.
I really didn't give him any instructions at all. I told him that she was an easy ride and he would know what to do when the gates opened. And I noticed the same thing. The speed was looking at her and they were going soft, so he took advantage of it.
Tone, sometimes hindsight's 20/20. Was she a horse that you thought would take a couple races to get going, or did you think she'd be able to fire first time out and just kind of bad luck?
You're awful good at what you do, and you know my horses take a while to get going. But I was very, very happy with the way she stretched out at Saratoga to 7/8 of a mile against good company. And then to come back today and stretch out to a mile, I got to be very happy with that.
And a daughter of custom for Carlos, were you expecting the distance to be in her favor?
I'm around too long to expect. I was hoping.
Yeah. Well, Tone, congratulations with Big World.
Thank you so much.
Just a terrific horseman and a great guy, Anthony Dutrow. And I love this horse's progression, Maggie. 5 furlongs, 6 furlongs, 7 furlongs, now to mile. That's old school. That's
truly old school. And she was a filly that in her first start I loved because she just had that very mature and progressive look to her. But she got away badly. She showed a propensity to want more ground as she closed that day. Then a good effort behind Rachel's Valentina, and boom, it sets up perfectly for a win at 7/8 and now a great stake.
Yeah, so perfect progression for her and a perfect progression for us is now let's check out the boys' division of basically the same race, the Nashua going a mile out of the chute here at Aqueduct.
And they're off. From mid-pack, it's Riverdale, and there goes Magnalite now. Magnalite up to grab the lead. Magnalite in front by 2. Then it's Jay's Way, who's racing in second. Pilot House is on the outside in third. Then Riverdale, Flexibility right together. Mohamed is 6th right here, 4.5 from the lead. Farther back, Sail Ahoy trails the field in 7th, the opening quarter, 23 2/5 seconds. And it's Magnalite on the lead here by a little more than a length. Pilot House and Jay's Way are heads apart, second and third. Mohamed is gaining ground on the extreme outside. Then it's Flexibility, followed by Riverdale, and farther back it's Sail Ahoy. They head into the far turn, and the half was 46-4. Magnalite by a half length. Pilot House in between. Mohaymen on the outside. Then it's a break of 2 to Jay's Way and Flexibility. And farther back, Riverdale and Sail Ahoy still the trailer. Mohaymen up to challenge Magnalite for the lead, and the two of them are together as they turn for home. Mohaymen now takes the lead from Magnalite. It's Mohaymen in front. Then Magnalite. Flexibility is driving up on the outside, and Sail Ahoy is putting in a late run. But it is Mohaymen with a 2-length lead. Flexibility and Sail Ahoy giving chase. Mohaymen in front, and Mohaymen will win the Nashua as the even money favorite. Looked like Flexibility got second. He'll be in a photo with Sail Ahoy. Riverdale was fourth.
Maggie, I think we're looking at a legitimate horse here. Mohaymen made a long, extended run, and I like the first 3 finishes. I think they're all quality colts.
Well, he should be, Richie, $2.2 million, but, you know, that doesn't always mean everything. But I do agree with you. It a great run on the outside by the New York bred Flexibility, a son of Bluegrass Cat, as well as Sail Ahoy. You know, he just feels like that kind of old-school shug horse that's just going to keep getting better, keep closing, keep finding, and that's what we saw.
Maybe a little vision of Orb there, coming back, that late running style. But you got an opportunity to catch up with Kieran McLaughlin, the winning trainer of Mohaymen.
Second graded stakes, a grade 2 Nashua on the card, won by Mohaymen today here, Kieran, and very talented horse. What were you expecting heading into this one, considering he was stretching out in only his second career start?
Yeah, we were a little worried about the kickback and how he would break, and the others that have had more racing than him, but he's a very talented horse, and I'm glad he lived up to the betting public's odds, and he's got a great pedigree.
Well, exactly. He also lived up to that $2.2 million purchase price. Is there a lot of pressure, do you feel, dealing with these very well-bred and expensive young horses?
At times, yes, and it's just great to win for Sheikh Hamdan bin Rashid Al Maktoum of Shadwell, Rick Nichols, and everybody in Lexington, because I've been with them for 22 years, so it's a special win.
Kieran, do you start to get Derby fever with a horse like Mohaymen?
For sure, yes. We definitely have Derby fever.
And do you have a race picked out for him next?
Well, it would be the Remsen or at Churchill Downs, the Kentucky Jockey Club, same day.
Well, Kieran, best of luck and congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Pretty remarkable that Kieran's been with the Maktoum family for that long. It speaks volumes about his horsemanship, and interestingly enough, Kieran trained this horse's mother for West Point Thoroughbreds. Yeah,
he was talking to me about that prior going into the race, as well as talking about a horse that we'll see coming up in a little bit that we'll show you the replay of Marking, where he won with earlier. But it's so nice for Kieran to know these horses' pedigrees, I think, and he's just been such a loyal, you know, you mentioned how good of a horseman he is, but he's also just a good guy, and we always root for Kieran.
We always root for Kieran. Love to see him win a Kentucky Derby, go back home to Kentucky as the conquering hero. Well, we're going to wrap up the first segment, but we're going to come right back with a lot more great racing action. We're at the Big A.
Now you can enjoy your favorite pro and fantasy football teams while playing the races in style, as Longshots welcomes back NFL Sunday Ticket. With over 400 HD TVs, 270 individual carols, a full-service sports bar and food menu, Longshots is the place to catch all the great racing and football action. So come on out, bring your friends, bring your league to Longshots, located on the second floor at Aqueduct.
There's Joltin' Joe Bravo, or Jersey Joe as he's known, having a terrific year. A little disappointing Breeders' Cup for him, but it can't take away all the great things Joe did this year. Opening week, a special Monday card, Monday, November 9th. We'll be open with our first post at 12:20, so don't just put those past performances away with Sunday's card. We'll be here Monday.
That's right. We have racing. We're just off dark one day. That's Tuesday, so can get your fill of the Big A this opening week.
Well, I don't want to get too filled up too fast. Yeah. We're going to be here for about 6 months, no doubt. But the turf course looked great, and we were on the turf for race number 6, 1 mile and 3 furlongs on the turf in progress.
Way up the backstretch now. And it's still Future Show showing the way here and leading by a head. Castellani has been chasing the entire way. 3/4 went in 1:17 and 2. Future Show by ahead. Castellani on the outside. Tis Talented and Promotional are heads apart, third and fourth. Then it's Affilio in fifth, followed by Aknaha, More Than a Warning, and Voila La Victoire. They race around the far turn, and Tis Talented is now making her move up on the outside. Castellani's in between horses, and Future Show. And down at the rail is Promotional looking to come on through. Promotional and Castellani. Now those two are heads apart. Tis Talented. On the outside is Affilio. Promotional has taken over the lead. And Promotional comes up the inside under Jose Lescano to win by 2.5 lengths. And it was a three-way photo for second among Affilio, Castellani, and Aknaha.
Promotional, a son of Artie Schiller, gets an absolutely beautiful Aqueduct turf ride by Jose Lescano. Saved every inch of ground, not a straw in his path, Maggie.
Well, it was actually a young lady, a 3-year-old filly by Artie Schiller.
I'm sorry, thank you.
It's quite all right. Conditioned by Tom Proctor, and she was coming in off a little bit of a layoff last time out here on October 7th. She ran very well, I thought, and proved that she's a filly that wants those kind of marathon turf races. And she's found a little niche, and it proved to her liking today over the Big A Green.
I think she wants that distance from the Chris S on the female side.
Yeah.
Artie was a little better, around a mile, a little more explosive. I was really impressed with Silvestre de Souza, who absolutely finished very strong, and I think a guy we're going to keep an eye on. You talked about Marking earlier. Well, let's check out Marking in race 7, going a mile in his second start.
With Jack Goliam, and you gotta have heart. You got to have heart. Jacko Liam in between, Marking on the outside. Those three have opened up 2 lengths on Securitiz, who's down towards the inside in 4th. Tiz Quick alongside in 5th. Infinite Midnight runs in 6th. Then it's 6 lengths to Gridley here, 3 more to Towering Moon. Opening quarter, 22 and 4/5 seconds. Yeah, gotta have heart by 3/4 of a length. Jacko Liam is second, and on the outside is Marking as Securitiz gains ground at the rail. Tiz Quick runs in 5th, 4.5 from the front. Then it's Infinite Midnight, big break back to Gridley here, and Towering Moon. Half mile, sharp, 45 and 3/5 seconds. You gotta have heart on the lead here by 3/4 of a length. Jack Goliam Marking now, moving up on the outside, and Infinite Midnight is making a move to the outside of Tiz Quick. They're coming for the head of the stretch. You gotta have heart. And Marking on the outside has now taken the lead. You gotta have heart back running in second. Then it's Jacko Liam and Tiz Quick. Infinite Midnight has tailed off, and there's an 1/8 of a mile to the finish, and it is Marking now extending the lead in the stretch. Marking's in front by 6 lengths. Marking is the leader, and a late run here from Gridley here, who was way out of it. Gridley here will complete the exacta. Then Tiz Quick and Towering Moon, who had that slow start, completes the superfecta.
Maggie, how about this performance? Marking was good first time out going 6. He was better today going a mile, and he won for fun.
I really kind of question him going this distance, especially since he was a bit rank going this 6. And he was even a little bit rank 3 wide when they left the chute there. But how impressive, 22.45, about a length and a half behind, and just kept going. Opened up to win by 6 in the end.
And looked like his gallop out was good. His ears were up. This is a horse to keep an eye on. It took him a little while to get to the races, but all good things are worth waiting for.
Yeah, a horse who had a lot of issues with the gait, which we do sometimes see still. I mean, scratched out of his what was to be his first effort up there at Saratoga, but it seems as though he's working through them finally.
Yeah, no doubt. Good job by Kieran and his crew. 2 wins today on opening day, but let's check out what else happened in race 1, 2, 4, 5, and 9.
And Domestic Warrior, and they're coming for the top of the stretch. And there goes Chomsky on the outside, up to challenge the front runners. But down at the rail in Street Jersey with Backside of the Moon. Kickoff is now coming through. Chomsky on the far outside, and Big House, 1/8 of a mile to the finish. Backside of the Moon. Street Jersey is down at the rail. Then Kickoff and Chomsky, and it is Backside of the Moon to take the opener at Aqueduct. Street Jersey was second. Then Kickoff. Chomsky, Big House, and Domestic Warrior. And into the stretch, Mr. Popsicle by 2. Aleander driving up on the outside. Old Mexico is third, and Pin and Win down at the rail. Here's Aleander, and Mr. Popsicle heads apart for the lead. Aleander now takes over. Aleander in front as they come on down to the finish. Aleander by 2. Mr. Popsicle was second. Then Old Mexico, Liberty first, and Pin and Win. It's a given at the back, 3/4 in 1:14 and now they're in the stretch, and now Late Night Mark has gone up to grab over the lead from Tap Smartly. It's Late Night Mark in front. Tiz a Cinch moves into second. Tap Smartly is back in third. Late Night Mark with a 4-length lead. Tiz a Cinch giving chase, then Invisible Crown. It's Late Night Mark, a 4-length winner. Very close for second between Tiz a Cinch and Invisible Crown. Lengths from the front with a 1/4 mile to the finish. And it is Lyrical Miracle. Lyrical Miracle has opened up a 4-length lead here. Otis, my man, Stevie's Moonshot, Sugar Gold on the outside as they pass the 8th pole. It's Lyrical Miracle, a huge price here. And Lyrical Miracle is going to pull off the big upset, 34-1. Sugar Gold was second. Stevie's Moonshot finished third. And Starship Pleasant arrive at the top of the stretch together. There's Avi's Halo to poke ahead in front. Starship Pleasant battles on. So Good to Go now moves up, so it's 3 of them across the track. Saratoga Karaoke is fourth. Lemon Song looking for a way through. Far outside, here comes Bargaining Table, who's kicking in late. Bargaining Table on the outside of So Good to Go. Down on the inside is Lemon Song. Bargaining Table won it by a half length. Close for second. Lemon Song, So Good to Go, and then Saratoga.
Maggie, a mixed bag of results today at Aqueduct. We had some chalky results. We had a couple of long shots, and I think that's what we're going to look at with our second look. Race number 5 and Lyrical Miracle getting it done. As we take a look through Cappy's binoculars there, this horse won off like should have been 6-5.
No, exactly. He was going first time out for trainer Dave Donk in here, and he won, like as you said, maybe a 3 to 5 shot should here, Meg. And congratulations to the connections.
Yeah, no doubt. Angel Arroyo, a guy who always rides aggressively, and we've seen this quite a bit. At Aqueduct opening day, some big long shot comes in. Dave Donk doing a great job. Lyrical Miracle getting it done. How about a horse in the last race, Maggie?
Yeah, exactly. Bargaining Table. That's why she was the favorite. Going in there 5 for 5 now, Richie, over the Aqueduct turf. Everywhere else, 2 for 19. She loves it here, and that I'm sure you can speak to of horses just loving and relishing this course. Why is that?
Well, I think 2 things. The course is so tight. The turns are very, very tight, and horses that can just run around turns well seem to excel here, even if they're closers. And it's got a little more give to it than, let's say, Belmont and Saratoga when it's firm. We are close to the water here. The Aqueduct turf course, a little bit spongier. Whatever it is, though, Bargaining Table, she loves Aqueduct. Bunch of claims. People starting off the meet just where they left off at Belmont. Basically, horses having dinner in a lot of other barns, a couple of shakes. And some of the usual suspects, the Toscanos taking Sugar Gold in a shake, and they've had a tremendous year.
They have, and they've been very active in the claim box, and so they've been doing well. So if it's not broke, why fix it?
Absolutely. Well, we've got one more break, and we're going to come back with a little look at tomorrow's races here at Aqueduct. There's some of our Cracker Jack camera crew right there. John Mazzy over there on the right. He's fun to play touch football with. We were on the roof at Belmont throwing the ball around. And don't forget, Saturdays, there's $200,000 guaranteed late pick 4s. That's a pretty nice pool to be betting into. And pick 4, Maggie, I should have hit a pick 4 at the Breeders' Cup. If Run Happy doesn't run down Private Zone, I hit the pick 4. But that's
I'm sorry.
Tale of woe for another day. As we've got to get looking at tomorrow's races. We're going to start out in race 4, a mile and a 16th on this turf course that looks like it's in great shape. And we're going to look at Tapestry first here at Saratoga.
Yeah, we saw her with a not-so-stellar trip behind a very slow pace. I mean, 25:51 kind of opening fractions, and she wasn't too happy doing that. And then again, she never totally looked comfortable here, rallying between horses, but she literally just missed the bob. I mean, it was a bad bob, but I thought she ran very well. And two, I think going a little bit shorter, she might get a little more pace to run into, so I think it plays favorably for her tomorrow.
And we saw Joel Rosario, who rides Tapestry tomorrow, deliver a perfect ride in the last race with that late run. And now we've got Runner and a Rock Me Again. Actually, Rock Me Again was second. Runner was fourth back on October 7th at Belmont.
Yeah, and it's going 1.25 miles. Another duo that I think going a bit shorter, the mile and 16th here at the Big A, might help them. They just really came up short when you consider that they were just sitting second and third behind the pace and really didn't have anything to offer, and deep closers seemed to pick up that race.
So we're going to go from turf racing to 1 mile on the main track in race 7 tomorrow. And we've got 2 horses coming out of an October 11th race, One-Sided and Wake Up in Malibu.
These two are in sensational form right now. I do like the fact that for Wake Up in Malibu's sake, that he's drawn outside of One-Sided because he looks to be the only other speed in here, and we'll see them One-Sided just kind of, both of them get run down by the 8 horse on the far outside, Rudy's horse. I can't think of his name at the moment. I think Towering Moon possibly, or one of those moon horses.
Yes, Towering Moon.
Yeah, so, you know, it's an interesting dynamic between those two, considering that they've kind of flip-flop post positions and who will play out as the speed.
I like Wake Up Malibu for the reasons you said. The outside, second time John Paracella, who I think is going to get rolling again this winter. Beauty in the Pulpit coming out of a race last year here on the inner track. This is his second start. He ran in February as well, but the Alex M. Robb.
Yeah, he faced much better horses here, as we see Big Business on the front end there. But Rudy not bad with his New York bred horses coming off this layoff, 5 for 12 with a 580 ROI. Maybe he is the one to get the job done just based on that class.
Well, we'll see if he's ready to fire off the bench. Let's see if Andy Serling is ready to fire first time out at Aqueduct.
Thanks a lot. Well, let's take a look at Thursday's 8-race card here at Aqueduct. Looking for a little bit of a price somewhere, and I'm going to take a shot in the 3rd race with a turnback, and you know I love a turnback, and that's the 6 Shades of Indigo, who gets a trainer change off the claim to trainer Diana Balsamo, with limited number of starters, does decent work off the claim. She's also 4 for 14, turning horses back. And while Shades of Indigo is going to need perhaps some more pace than she's going to get in this race, I'm not in love with the speed Autumn Squall, so I think that opens it up for the closers. And Shades of Indigo has run a number of races that put her very much in the mix, can't resist a turn back, and she'll be a decent price. So let's try the 6, Shades of Indigo, in the 3rd race on Thursday's card.
Well, thanks, Andy. And, wow, that looks like a familiar presenter there, our own Maggie Wolfendale, giving the trophy for the Tempted. We'll see you right back here tomorrow from Aqueduct.